Sometimes the things we need to hear the most are, well, the hardest to swallow. So today, we're going to dive into some of life's bitter truths. These are those uncomfortable but absolutely essential insights that can totally change the way you see everything. So let's get right into it.
So, I have to ask you straight up, are you ready for this? Because look, the ideas we're about to get into, they might be a little unsettling, but I promise you they hold the key to really understanding money, our relationships, and maybe most importantly, ourselves. Okay, first up, money. It's something that's on our minds a lot. But do we really, truly get it? We're about to get right to the heart of our very complex, and let's be honest, often misunderstood relationship with wealth. It all really boils down to this one simple but kind of profound comparison. What we earn versus what we think we need. On one hand, you've got the cash coming in. On the other, all the stuff we feel like we just have to have. And that gap between the two is where our entire idea of being rich or poor comes from.
And this is the core truth of it all. A person isn't poor because of how little they earn. They're poor because of how much they need. See, poverty, when you look at it this way, isn't about an empty bank account. No, it's a state of just endless wanting. The more you want, the poorer you actually are. And it doesn't matter how much money is sitting in your bank. Now, just imagine for a second that money could talk. What would it say? Probably something like this. Hey, if you save me today, I promise I'll save you tomorrow. And that just completely reframes the whole idea of saving, doesn't it? It's not about depriving yourself. It's more like a pact, an agreement you're making with the future you.
Okay, so we've talked about money. Now we're going to shift gears to something, well, way more complicated. We're talking about the raw and sometimes pretty harsh truths about our relationships with other people. Now this next one is a tough pill to swallow. It's the idea that behind every friendship, there's some kind of self-interest hidden away. I know, it sounds super cynical, but it really makes you stop and think, doesn't it? It forces you to question the real reasons behind our connections. Like, is a purely selfless friendship even a real thing?
And here's a pretty sharp reality check about gossip. You know those groups where everyone's having a great time tearing someone else down? Well, never ever think you're safe. I guarantee you, the second you get up and leave, you become the new topic. It's just a stark reminder of how quickly those social circles can turn on you.
And this might be the most brutal truth we'll talk about. The idea that maybe, just maybe, true, deep, lasting empathy is kind of an illusion. Think about this really stark example. At a funeral, while a body is literally being cremated, the people closest to them are already asking things like, so how much longer is this going to take? It's shocking, but it shows just how fast the practical, worldly stuff can push aside even the deepest sense of loss. But hey, it's not all bleak, I promise. There's this incredible shift in perspective that happens to a lot of us as we get older. Like, think about this. When you're a son, you might look at your dad and think all his decisions are just wrong or way too strict. But then the moment you become a parent yourself, bam, everything flips. All those decisions that seemed so crazy suddenly make perfect sense. It's a really beautiful reminder of how experience can totally change our point of view.
So we've spent some time looking outward, at money and at other people. Now it's time to turn that focus inward. This next part is all about understanding your own value, your own worth. And I'm talking about a value that has nothing to do with your job title or what anyone else thinks of you.
I absolutely love this analogy. Think about it. A single 1 rupee coin can never become 100,000 rupees, all by itself. Of course not. But if you take that one single rupee away from 100,000, well, it's not 100,000 anymore, is it? The whole point is that your contribution, no matter how small you think it is an absolutely essential part of the whole picture. You can't be replaced. And that really builds on this idea of your own unique value.
So what if you didn't reach some crazy high position in your career? Who cares? Your personal experience, all the struggles, the things you got wrong, that is an incredibly powerful asset. You can use that experience to help literally millions of other people succeed, to help them avoid the pitfalls you fell into. Your life has immense value, even if it doesn't look like the traditional picture of success. All right, and now we've come to our final and maybe the most profound truth of them all. This one comes in the form of a short story, and it's one that just cuts through all the noise, all the things we think are so important, and forces us to face the ultimate reality of what it means to be human.
So, I want you to picture this. We're at a crematorium, and there's this wise old holy man, a fakir, just sitting there.
and he is staring really intently at the ashes from two different funeral pyres. He's just completely lost in thought, just looking at these ashes.
As you can imagine, someone walks by and sees him staring like this and gets curious. So they go up to him and ask, "Baba, what are you looking at? Why are you staring so hard at those piles of ash?"
So the fakir looks up and explains. He points to one pile of ash and says, "That was a rich man. He spent his whole life eating the finest foods like cashews and almonds." Then he points to the other pile, and that, he says, was a poor man who struggled every single day just to find 2 simple meals to eat. I mean, their lives could not have been more different.
And then he delivers the final, devastatingly simple point. He looks at the person and says, "But tell me, what's the difference between their ashes?" Look closely. They're exactly the same. In the end, everything, the wealth, the struggle, the status, the privilege, it all just burns away, leaving nothing but identical piles of dust.
And that leaves us with one last massive question to think about. If this is where we're all headed, if everything we build up, everything we're so proud of, all just turns into the exact same indistinguishable ash, then what's the point of all the ego? What's it all for? A powerful thought to leave you with for sure.